So in my 8th grade home economics class, one of my male classmates coined the nickname Boss Lady for me in our class time. And I'm not sure if me taking the lead on our banana bread making or quilt making project served as criteria for this label, but the nickname stuck throughout our time in that class. But we can't say that his nickname was a rarity in our culture. In fact, it reflects a larger attitude towards women in leadership positions. And because of this, we only have 21 of Fortune 500 CEOs as women. Now keep in mind, our population is 50% female. So this gap begs us to ask how and why this exists. Sorry. You good? Thank you. So when I started the initial stages of my research, I wanted to focus on the legislative causes of the female leadership gap. So these were the concrete government-enforced barriers that were holding women back from top leadership positions. And as I studied these, I became increasingly troubled by what I found. One of the most troubling causes I found was the failure of the Equal Rights Amendment, or the ERA. Many of you may know it by the women's liberation era in the 1970s. So one of the major points of the Equal Rights Amendment was that it guaranteed equal work for equal pay. Keep in mind this bill failed, meaning we still don't have equal work for equal pay between men and women. In fact, women earn only 78 cents to every man's dollar of compensation. Think about that for a second. In America, when we pride ourselves on equal protection under the law, we blatantly discriminate women solely due to their sex. But there were also less blatant laws holding women back in these positions. One issue is paid maternity leave. In the entire globe, America is the only industrialized nation that doesn't ensure paid maternity leave for women. Now, this may not seem like a big deal, but think deeper for a second. Women typically start families in their late 20s and early 30s in our society. This also happens to be a critical juncture of professional advancement. In other words, it's a critical time for women to be moving up the corporate ladder. Now put yourself into a new mom's shoes. You've just had a kid and you've left your job for a few months and you're ready to be back in the workforce. But you know, to be back in the workforce, you have to be fully invested as you were before. And like most moms, this investment is going to be limited with a new kid. And frequently this ends up in you leaving the workforce permanently. And as a country, we need to stop this development for women. Now, this isn't to say that women shouldn't become full-time mothers. Being a parent, I think we can all agree, is the hardest job on this planet, harder than being a CEO of any company. But we're losing too many women and too much of our workforce to this development. And as a result, if we adopt more flexible policies that make work and family balances better, we'll retain more of our workers at the most productive points in their careers. So after studying these legislative causes, I had a strong foundation for the quantitative reasons behind the gap. So this was facts, figures, and percentages. But I still felt as though there was a missing piece in my research as to why women weren't getting the top positions in companies. And so I turned to social and cultural values that were impacting women. And as a culture, we've inherently taught women to be fundamentally insecure from childhood. And we've done this in a systematic way. Under the Reagan administration in the 1980s, the FCC started to relax regulations on sexual images in the media. As a result, there's been a consistent uptake in sexual images in advertisements, such as these ones. With girls absorbing this information every day, they're taught to objectify themselves from an early age. In G-rated movies, female characters are just as likely to be wearing sexually revealing clothing as those in R-rated movies. This type of media content is hurting our girls and has far-reaching impacts. It teaches them to objectify themselves, and this also has far-reaching impacts. Girls who score high on traits on self-objectification have lower GPAs and lower cognitive functioning. and the impacts are immediate to the leadership gap. Girls who score high in these traits have low political efficacy, meaning that their values or opinions have less influence in group dynamics, such as the workplace. If we frame this in broader terms, it becomes clear as to why women aren't in these top leadership positions. If their opinions don't matter as much in a group, they're going to have less influence on broader terms. If we value women only for their appearance, we trivialize their contributions to society and the workplace. And not only do we discourage girls from holding positions of power, but we dismiss ones that already do hold these. Female bosses are consistently portrayed in a negative light in our media. Think Meryl Streep and The Devil Wears Prada. But this doesn't apply to fictional characters alone. In our society, it's not uncommon to see whole articles dedicated to the appearance of female politicians. Yet, this is a rarity for male politicians. This is a coping mechanism because we are inherently uncomfortable with women who are in powerful positions. We trivialize and degrade their authority by looking at their appearances. This is not a model we can continue to live by if we want a more just world. The next time you want to criticize a girl's appearance or her bossiness, think twice about whether this criticism is a valid one and if it's a useful one. If we do this as a culture, we'll create a more equal world for our girlfriends, wives, sisters, and daughters. Thank you.
Should I just go with that?
Is she coming?
Yeah, she said she'd come.
Okay.
She told me she wasn't sure she would be able to get out.
Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah.
It's 11:40.
I'm fine with just going.
Okay.
Just go. All right. So, we all good? Yep.
That's a great idea.
Teaching never came to me as a job I really had the opportunity to do. I always had some assumptions about it, whether it be it's a relatively easygoing job, it's not a whole lot of fun, and there's not a whole lot of practice involved. Obviously, I was wrong, and I really was over my head when I did that. I didn't really expect to learn a lot from it either, and I really felt that that was the biggest thing throughout my senior project. I taught at the elementary school because I thought it'd be less challenging than the rest. Obviously, I was wrong again, and that was probably, it could be just as hard as just any of the others. I'm going to jump right into it and talk about the first time I taught. The first time I taught, I'd been acclimated to the kids for about a little less than a month now. And I really didn't know how good I'd be at it. I had done teacher prep, I had done all my things for it, and I really felt that I wasn't sure how well I would be. I was nervous throughout it, and my heart was pounding. I don't know if you can see my face is red or anything like that, but I realized I should probably practice more. And I realized that teaching is, it's a job that you have to master through practice and other things. Yeah, I'll wait.
Come on.
That's unfortunate. Thank you guys for coming so late.
They heard you call a friend.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what it's just here to get it so it buttons. At least my time load's gonna be really good for this now. Okay. So I'll continue. So when the game started, I just instructed, I wanted to see how things would work out. I wanted to see if kids would follow my directions and be comfortable with me and really know what I had said, and I was clear. Most of the kids followed what I had said, and it was good to see that. But then I noticed the kids that argued. They fought. They didn't get what they want. It was tough, and everything for them. And they would come to me or Miss Tracy, and I didn't mind helping, nor did Miss Tracy, and we kind of worked out the problem for themselves. But the kids that worked it out themselves really did something. They really got the game going smoother. They rock, paper, scissors, shoot. They compromised. They'd come up with a solution to the problem. And I'm talking about this because it relates to my research about how PE benefits people. And PE, one of the main themes I found in PE was the fact that the social skills people can develop from being in a group, teamwork, cooperation. And this is a quote from my research saying, from a young age, children learn cooperation through group activities and form a positive sense of identity as part of a team. And I saw that all the time in PE class. I saw kids grouping up, really getting together for games and everything, and building friendships. The next thing I want to talk about is how, as a high schooler, I always found that people were telling me it's the most stressful time. You've got college time, you've got SAT, tests, quizzes, stress, social anxiety or anything. But what I found, and was unexpected to me, was the fact that elementary schoolers can be just as stressed as a high schooler. And I didn't know the kids' story, I didn't know their problems, but sometimes they would just come to the school day, they would have a pout on their face, they didn't look happy. Maybe they moved from someplace else, maybe they had problems at home, I just didn't know. But what I learned was PE was a way for them to get away from that. And they would run around, get all the negative energy out of them, and they'd be more happy. It almost gave them kind of like a springboard for the rest of the day to be more focused, more happy, better, and just in a better mood overall. One kid in particular I knew who had learning disabilities would, during school day, he was not really happy. He didn't like it. But when he ran into PE class every time, boy did he run. He was always ready to he got happier, he was better, and he was a good kid, and he really blossomed during the PE class, I found. I'm talking about this again because of my research. And I've never really found that my research could be so applicable to my actual project. And that was really something that was really good. And I really thought that really tied into the fact that my project was just as good as my research. So my quote is, exercise is also considered vital for maintaining mental fitness, and it can reduce stress. Studies show that it is very effective at reducing fatigue, improving alertness and concentration, and enhancing overall cognitive function. And you know, like I said, I saw that every day. And the last thing I want to talk about is how I always heard other seniors talk about how much of a dread the senior project is, how much people wouldn't enjoy it, and how, you know, it's one of the worst times, another stressful time of your life, being a senior. However, I loved my project. I had a lot of fun bonding with the kids, coming in and teaching, and I really found it was fun. The picture in the middle is one of my favorite classes. They were thrilled to get a picture with me, and they were really good kids. The picture on my right, is one of the last times I taught. And by that time, I had practiced more. I felt more confident. I was more committed to what I had done, and I really felt like I got something out of it by practicing more. The picture on my left is one of the last games I played with the kids. That kid in particular was a really good kid. We had a lot of fun times with him. So to measure my success, I did a little survey for the kids. It was a little simplified down for them, obviously, because I thought they'd be more honest and it'd be a little more accurate. I asked them how fun it was to have me into class. It was almost 100%, which is good. But the most important one was how well did I teach. And I can say that almost 100% of the kids, again, gave me that, with one, maybe two or something. And I really, that showed that by putting commitment into it, I really could get something out of my project, and that was something really good to me. And I did that survey on the last day with each class, and it was a little heartbreaking because the kids knew I was going to leave. And I remember specifically how one of the kids in particular was preventing me from going out the door, hugging me to stop me from going out there. And it really struck me how a teacher isn't really just your teacher. It can be a companion. You can really form a bond with them. And they're not just there to be against you or anything. So to sum up what I learned from my project was that the teaching environment, and more specifically PE class, isn't just about group activities, running around, and exercise. It's more about specifically giving kids skill sets for later in life. Thank you. I want to say thank you to Ms. Tracy for taking time out of her day to have me come in. Thank you for Christine for helping me throughout the project and really being good to me. And thanks to Ms. Dustin for guiding me along.
I've I voted with AHJ.